hooker. You know what? When we first did our first episode this year, I remember us saying hooker was very boring this year, and to a certain extent, it still is. But I think it's become a lot more exciting because so many people out there are trying to avoid Harry Grant because of the price, and they're trying to find and make up reasons in their own head why someone else looks so appealing. Harry Grant, no doubt, is head and shoulders above everyone else in his position when it just comes down to the nuts and bolts of it. When we just want to take everything away and just think we've got unlimited salary cap, every single Supercoach player out there would be picking Harry Grant. It's because of how we want to make our teams look and the outcomes of our team where other players become a bit of an option. And this is where the top five comes into it. So Harry Grant's number one. Jeremy Marshall King, I've got number two. Reece Robson, number three. Damien Cook in at number four. And Api Coruscant, number five. I'm glad Api Coruscant is five, so we can end on him. There is definitely some talking points there. I think so many people have gotten way too excited about him the last couple of days. But anyway, Harry Grant, we've already said what we've I know in countless episodes, so I don't want to bother people too much. But in an ideal world, you're just simply picking Harry Grant, aren't you?
Yeah, of course you are. If I had an extra few 100K, I would.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
We don't.
Didn't make my team look too ugly having him, I would, but my team
Yeah.
doesn't look great with him.
You can't have everyone. You can't even have half of them. That's the problem. If you could have half of him, I could justify him being one of those halves, but yeah. No, I'm looking a couple 100K lower, unfortunately. I just don't see it at the moment. But yeah, he is clear. It's daylight, to be fair, man. Maybe, can't knock it until team lists come out and I rip it all apart again. But it does look good having him in the team, I'll tell you what. Because I haven't really had him in the team much this year. So whenever I do make a team and throw him in there, I'm thinking, fuck, this could be the one. This could be where it's at. But yeah, I quickly change it. So he is just pricey. Again, we don't have the luxury this year. There's just too much to spread around. So yeah, it's more tempting to sit in the 500s and look around there for the moment. But yeah, there will be people. Obviously, the majority have him. His ownership is 28%. So he has more ownership now than Jaden Brayley does. So that was always, that was always the other side of things. Brendan Hands is creeping up pretty quick too, 20% owned. So as far as they go, both cheapies.
Avoid.
To have the big dog sitting number one with the highest ownership too, even over all the cheapies, it's pretty clear that he's the favorite. You're making reasons not to get him, but I think the money's better spent elsewhere for the minute.
If you're on either of those cheapies before you get into that list, I would just recommend right now get off. Jaden Brayley is battling a hamstring injury. He needed to play a trial for mine to show he's ready to go. The fact that he hasn't done that coming off the ACL injury and now a hamstring injury, I don't know when he's going to be back. I don't know how much they'll push him either, and I don't know how much game time he'll get. So even at that mid 300 price for Jaden Brayley, I'd be looking elsewhere and trying to find a play. Brandon Hand is a Parramatta supporter. Joey Lussick will look as if he will have that hooker position. Now, Brendan Hands is on the bench this week, but I don't know what minutes he'll get. Like I'm anticipating Brad Arthur loves Joey Lussick. He just, I don't know why. He's just very nuts and bolts hooker for mine. He'll just give it to Brown or Moses or Gutho, and that's sort of it. And that's what he wants from his dummy half. But I can't see Brendan Hands getting much game time at all. Like I'm talking 20, maybe 15 minutes 20 minutes at most. So I couldn't go there for either of them.
No, you would know more than us, I suppose, or me in general anyway. I think personally,
He's the better hooker. He just
I would take Lussick. Lussick's my hooker out of the two. I've said it. I'm on record saying it a couple times. I like my Supercoach points. I think Brad Arthur must play Supercoach as well. So, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Messaging Jacob asking for those notes in the back room. Be like, what's your old man talking? I want some inside information. So, yeah, the hooking stocks are a bit funny at the moment. So, but yeah, Harry Grant number one, Jeremy Marshall King yeah, valid number 2. I think he's probably the next best hooker down from him. I haven't really seen too much about him, with his minute side of things either. So we'll just have to see if there's anyone else that they're kind of contending with, because there's a good chance that he might just get a full run.
Yeah.
Makes him even more appealing. So yeah, he's definitely been on the radar as well for that. And he's 110k discount on Harry
Yeah.
Grant. So it's pretty a substantial drop. Really
It
getting
is.
110 off the big dog. So for a very probably similar output, to be fair, and the Dolphins' run is nice. I think it's just more so be vigilant about that buy round, because it does catch up
Yeah,
pretty
definitely.
quick. And you just need to make sure that you've got that backup guy that's actually starting. Um, don't want to be trading backup hookers if you can avoid it anyway. So if it's one of those Hans Lussick boys, who's your backup? Which I think at the moment it doesn't seem to be anyone else in that argument now that Brayley seems to be out of it. Um, it's just, yeah, it's pretty dire. Maybe, if you're really scraping bottom of the barrel for coin, Danny Levi, I wouldn't do it, but he's dirt cheap.
Yuck.
Looks like he might start just for a minute. Who knows? I don't think he even does anything with 80 minutes. So it's yuck everywhere you look. Um, so yeah, definitely the Eels boys are the ones to look at for the cheaper options, I would say. Reece Robson, 80-minute hooker, really good run, really good price. Still feel like there's upside at 560k too. Um, you can just set him, forget him for a long time. He's borderline keeper as well if he does get back to the form from 2 years back. Because last year was quite quiet for his standard. The year before that, he did pretty well. It just depends if the Cowboys can come out of the gates, because they've got the fixtures for it, and we've spoken about it 1,000 times. I do like Reece Robson for his price and for what he can do. So Damien Cook, it's kind of rude not to have Damien Cook in a top 5 of hookers, I would say, while he's still playing the game.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. I wouldn't put him any higher or lower. Api Coruscant. There's a lot of talk at the moment about Api Coruscant kicking goals. I don't think that sticks, personally. It's like watching a guy kick a ball for the first time when I see him do it. Um, I think with the amount of times that Caesar has, I think he's probably going to get that off him. But yeah, look, I've drafted Api Coruscant. You're good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was good. It's like a newborn foal trying to walk for the first
Yeah,
time as he's walking
exactly.
up to the tee and
It's like
hitting
a
it. So,
baby giraffe's just fallen out of its mum's ass for the first time. And it's got these wobbly legs, and it's trying to stand up. Just thinking, oh shit, I gotta sort my game out, man. There's a lion coming.
oh,
So, or a
yeah.
tiger in this fucking, in this little review here. So, um, yeah, man, I'm more than versed in Api Coruscant. I've drafted him 5 years running, so he's my go. He's my go-to. He was fine at the Panthers. He was fine at Manly. Tigers just didn't sort of hit the heights that I was hoping for, and it kind of burnt me with a, basically first or second round draft pick. So, he has kicked, not a great percentage. It's still okay. It's really nice to have a kicking hooker too. That's no one of them. So I just don't feel like it's sustainable for him. I feel like someone comes in, probably sees it, and takes those kicks off him at some point, maybe early on. And you have a round 1 bye, so you're getting him to play him in round 2. There's a good chance you're going to get 30 points out of Coruscant on any other week. You might get 60, but you're probably not going to get that most of the time. It's usually pretty shit, and the big games are pretty big. So yeah, it's not a consistent, like a Reece Robson 40 50 50 50,
Yeah.
or a Grant 80 80 80 if you're on the top end. It's fucking here, or it's here, or it's here, or it's lower than that. You're thinking, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. So
The other thing is if you're picking him purely off the fact that he's goal kicking, and we've said it before with the Tigers when we were talking about Caesar, the goal kicker, realistically, you just got to remember how many tries do you anticipate the Tigers scoring this year? Like, there's still a massive work in progress. Like, no doubt, I liked what I seen on the weekend. It was against a Warriors side with 12 players, don't forget, and they struggled to put them away. Api Coruscant was really good at dummy half. I do like what he brings to the Tigers. It just, as you said, like it doesn't equate to the Supercoach points that you probably anticipate it would normally equate to some of those players. Like, don't bring the goal kicking argument into it. I just don't think it's too relevant when you're talking about Coruscant. Don't get overexcited about it.
Yeah. Another point to make about that too. There's a good chance he's not an 80-minute hooker. I'm a Coruscant fan, so I'm speaking of a player that I've owned in pretty much every draft I've ever had. Um, he doesn't get 80. You're going to take that bit of a hit, and you're providing him actually kicking those goals in the chance that he does get to kick them. And if he doesn't get them, he loses 2 points. So if he's not making the base to really afford to lose 2 points every time he misses a try that they might score maybe three of, like there's a chance that he gets those kicking duties and they make him go backwards, depending on where those tries are scored. If they're on the try line or if they're on the sideline, sorry, I'd be thinking, fucking please give it to someone else. Like I'd like to get a little,
100%.
a couple more points, but I really can't afford him to lose any. So he's a 30 or a 90 kind of guy, I would say, most of the time. And it's for draft, not the worst thing in the world because you've probably got him after a lot of the bigger guys have dropped off already. Grant, Marshall King, Robson, Cook, Brayley, even probably Brandon Smith. They've all probably gone. Maybe I see his appeal in draft more than classic. If I had to buy someone with actual cash money, I'm not getting Coruscant in even with the kicking. So that's just something to consider there. I feel like there's just too much. And the thing is, he's not cheaper than the other guys either. He's 10K dearer than Robson.
Yeah.
And like even just that alone, between that, just for the fact that Robson will definitely play you 80. You've
Yes.
got Talon De Silva and you got Jake Simkin to be worried about with Coruscant. Obviously, they're not on his level, but not yet anyway. Simkin obviously had a fair few games last season that he poked up. So, yeah, just a little thing. I see his ownership spike up. It was actually 10 when we started this pod. It's 11 now. So, it's going
Oh,
up. It's going up.
live Supercoach stats. How good's that?